Great. I pressed the right buttons. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the 50th episode of Tuesday Feelings on the Reinventing the Tattoo Network. Right now, we're beaming out to several different places. So if you guys are watching, either tag a friend in the chat or comment where you guys are watching from. Of course, we love the positive reviews, and they are always welcome. Welcome to the 50th. Okay, so beyond these live shows, all of the Reinventing Network shows, art jams, drawing groups, interviews, panels, and webinars can be watched anytime or anywhere on our YouTube channel, the Reinventing website, and also 24/7 on our Roku channel. The Roku channel is pretty new, yet pretty awesome. To find it, you can search for Reinventing the Tattoo on your device, and then 24/7 streaming content with several channels. We have several weekly drawing groups that are happening pretty much every day. So if you guys are watching now, you're welcome to tune in or even hop on this Zoom call with us by going to our website, scrolling down to our calendar, and clicking the link to join. You can also set up reminders on YouTube for all of these upcoming events as well. So on Sundays, Jason Leeser's in the house today, but every Sunday at 1 p.m., he leads a skill building Sunday class. We encourage you guys to bring something you're working on, or if you have questions about it, Jason's always an excellent source to get honest feedback. Monday mornings at 9 a.m., James Wisdom leads his Reinventing Drawing Group, followed by the Tattoo Weekly Monday mornings at 11, hosted by myself, Gabe Ripley of Tattoo Now, and Jake Meeks of the Fireside Tattoo Network. Also Mondays at 5 p.m. is Robbie Rappol's Let's Talk About Feelings, followed by the evening evolution class at 9 p.m. led by Guy Aitchison. If you guys would like additional information on the learning platform, go to classrooms.reinventingthetattoo.com. Also right here, Tuesdays at 10 is the Tuesday Feelings with Ricardo. Wednesdays at noon is our Tattoo Now show, followed by our business course every other Wednesday at 1. Also Tattoo Collecting 101 is at 6 o'clock on Thursday nights. Beyond all of these virtual shows, we'll be at Tony Urbanic's Rubber City Tattoo Invitational at the end of July, as well as Hell City at the end of August. Lastly, as you guys know, I love to shout out our sponsors every time we go on. So thank you to World Tattoo Events. Alex has the most comprehensive resource for tattoo events in the world at worldtattooevents.com. Also, thank you to Raw Pigments, an ink company that's tapping into the source with acrylic-free inks that have been impressing a lot of different types of artists from around the world. If you guys are watching and want to support Reinventing, you can use Reinventing the Tattoo at checkout on the Raw site to get 10% off. Also, thank you to Gabe at Tattoo Now, providing technology and organization for tattooers for decades. And of course, the founder and inspiration behind Reinventing, Guy Aitchison. You can find his Biomech Encyclopedia, DVDs, and more on his website. Thanks to our affiliates, Fireside Tattoo, The Apprenticeship Diaries, and eco-friendlytattoosupplies.com. Now, after all this, I'm going to go ahead and bring everybody in. I'm really excited because today is pretty much a milestone episode for Ricardo. So let's go ahead and.
Does that mean we'll be drinking?
I don't know.
That whole
Maybe not
saying
today.
about it, it's 5 o'clock somewhere, right? All that junk. Yeah. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. Before we get started, I just was gonna just do a little. I like memory lane. I don't know how you guys feel about memory lane. Hey, Medusa. But I'm gonna take you down memory lane real quick.
Oh man.
I'll just start. Okay, I don't know if I'm sharing the sound or not, but this is what things looked like the very, very first episode. Ricardo's setting stuff up. You know, Ash K was here, Faith was there, and you were doing, do you remember this, Ricardo?
Yes, I do. I do recall this. I was really focused on showing how I draw and stuff like that at the time.
So where's your head at right here? You're pretty nervous, I'm taking it, because this is the first time.
Yeah, dude, I was so nervous at this time. Like, I didn't know what I was doing. Technology is not my strong suit, you know what I mean? So I'm like fumbling through this stuff and making sure I'm trying to convey what it is that I'm saying to everybody about this process. I'm like, I was literally sweating the whole time.
I think I could tell.
Yeah. And then, yeah, so, but it was fun, you know what I mean? Like, it was fun being able to show what I did know, you know, like, and then falling back on just the fact that, like, I'm here, I've been given this opportunity, and like, let's try to make the most out of it for everybody. I think it's so crazy seeing myself like that. That's nuts. But like, where was I going to go with that? You know, like sharing with everybody, that ended up turning into like this evolution of conversation. You know what I mean? Like I've always kind of approached my art in the sense of like my life, you know, like applications that can be learned in art in the same process of learning about our lives and like how we react and how we understand things and how we interpret things. You know what I mean? Like in the simple fact that like what we create is an illusion for somebody to kind of be able to see as an in-depth image, you know, like with dimension, with texture, with some kind of perspective. You know what I mean? Like we literally take a flat 2D surface that's just stark white, plain, and we convince the viewer to take this journey, you know? And I think it's really important for me that that's the way that you can kind of convey life the same way. You know what I mean? Like whatever it is you want to create, we can create it ourselves. And I'm constantly reminding myself of that. At like every milestone, so to speak, every turn, you know, when it gets difficult, we can still just kind of erase it and start it all over, or set it aside to be able to like view it for another time. You know what I mean? Because like I was saying last week, I have this stack of drawings that I have in my garage right now that I'm moving, and I was looking at some of them, knowing that at one time when I drew them, I wanted to throw them away. I just wanted to toss them into the garbage. But looking back on them now, some of them I really love, you know, but it's from a different perspective now. You know, it's from this past year of drawing this guy and meeting all of you guys in the chats and stuff like that. So quite the journey. And at that time, I was just so nervous, and I still get nervous every time I get in front of this camera. But yeah.
What's
How
your
about you guys?
biggest transformation you feel from doing not necessarily guys classes, but just doing the shows?
Biggest transformation is coming out of myself, being a little bit more verbal and vocal about where I'm at the moment. You know what I mean? Being able to consciously and purposely walk up to somebody and say hello with a smile. You know what I mean? Because there's been so many times that I've walked past some of these people that I've met on here that I've just been like, they're never going to remember me. What's the point? Or I just fumble over my words and I fanboy all over them or something like that. You know what I mean? So I think the biggest transformation for me is to be able to just sit back and just kind of say hello and then let it happen instead of trying to just word vomit everything I've ever wanted to say to these people. You know what I mean? That's the other thing that I'm learning throughout this entire process too, is not only that, but also doing my best to kind of be an observer as well as a participant, you know? So yeah, I think that would probably be the biggest transformation. That and being tattooed by Guy Aitchison, like, dang. Never thought that would happen,
I hear
honestly.
you there.
Yeah, you're coming up too, aren't you?
Yeah, in like 6 weeks.
Nice. It's gonna be an adventure for you for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that place is like it's like a mecca, you know. It's so relaxing there. It's awesome. But yeah, no, episode 50. I can't believe we're here. You know what I mean? Like I was saying a little bit ago, it started out as this like drawing, this informative drawing method. I like to draw with charcoal quite a bit. Learning how to draw with charcoals, and then learning how to oil paint around the same period of time, they kind of transfer together. You know, for me, they kind of relate to each other pretty extensively. And like, so I was really trying to show like how I take these 3 steps and just concentrating on simple shapes and building them up into like a more detailed image and bringing things into life with detail, sharper edges, things like that. And it kind of started to transform. And this whole time, what I'm really starting to gravitate towards more now is just coming on here and talking about everything that's going on in life. You know what I mean? I'll do a little bit of drawing and stuff here and there, but it's really been helpful to get on here and to find people that a lot of people feel the same way that I do, you know, where we're nervous, you know what I mean? We're trying to find a path. What's our next step? You know what I mean? How do we get through those next steps? How do we break through into that new approach, the one that we've always been avoiding? For me, it's been avoiding it, you know, kind of like hiding behind myself, you know. So getting on here and being in front of the camera has helped me do that. pretty hardcore. That and like all you guys reaching out to me and, you know, some private messages here and there and stuff like that, meeting some of you in person. It's helped me as much as it helps you. And like also talking about my drawings and stuff like that, it's actually taught me a lot about my own drawings. So pretty stoked about it. Yeah, the journey, right? The journey.
Yeah, I
But
remember talking to you about it in when we were first together for the first time in Texas. And
mhm.
even then it was feeling like really fresh. And even then you were still like, it felt new, but now it just feels normal. And it feels like it's just a wonderful outlet for everybody.
Yeah, it feels that way for sure. I enjoy it. I enjoy it. Yeah, Texas was a blast, man. Meeting you in person, meeting the people that I have. You know, about a year ago, uh, it was right after the quarantine and stuff like that. I saw that there was the membership, and I had checked an old email, and I went to an old email, and I jumped in there, and the first class I jumped on was with Jason. You know what I mean? And Jason and Bruno were both on the class at the time, and I think Gabe was hosting it. And yeah, the magic just happened after that. Like I thought that Jason and Bruno had known each other for a long time. That's how comfortable it was for all of us to be inside of that show. You know what I mean? And I thought they knew each other for years. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh man, I'm this new dude just jumping in. Let's just see what happens. You know what I mean? And I was so excited to be there. I was so eager to like just like talk with everybody. You know what I mean? Especially after quarantine and stuff like that, dude. I think everybody was ready to kind of like start branching out again. You know. So I'm so happy that I like checked into that. And like now Jason and I are pretty good friends, you know what I mean? I think just
I hope.
joking. Yeah, no doubt, right? Tell me about it. But yeah, so that was pretty awesome. And then we just started, and then I jumped into the Guy Atchison class, you know what I mean, on Monday nights, and that was so nerve-wracking all in itself. But then the helpful amount of information that he had to offer was great. And like I say this a lot. Like when I first started tattooing, the last job that I had was at this what was it, like some little company that does, you know, third-party applications for people, like where I was like handling some power bill thing where I was entering fractions of a dollar, like so cents back to people that they paid over. It was mundane, it was boring, and like I could literally not look at the screen until I had to look at the actual just decimal point and then the number after that. You know what I mean? So it was terrible. It was so bad. But I remember in my little cubicle, I had clipped out old magazine pictures, and I had them all scattered over the whole cubicle. Guy Atchison pictures everywhere. You know what I mean? And like to go from that to this now is just, it's incredible.
Don't you
I don't
think
even
you
know.
started creating your journey at that point? You just didn't really
Yeah,
realize that was the journey it would be.
that's exactly it. That's a good point, because yeah, you're right. It's that journey and the process. It's like we were talking about that before we started the show. You know what I mean? It's pretty incredible, because I think we all want to attain a certain level, but we don't look like, it's like a lot of tattoo artists, like Guy, for example. Um, you know, the amount of work it took for him to get to where he's at now, the amount of investment and understanding his own art and like applying new techniques that nobody was doing. You know, it's something that I think we take for granted. You know what I mean? Especially for ourselves. And sometimes it can get pretty difficult. Sometimes the journey is pretty hard, and like you're just not there. I just need to keep pushing. I need to keep pushing. But sometimes there's those moments that you don't even recognize, like that. Like you're right, because that was part of my first decisions. And as a matter of fact, I remember going home on break, and I had already been like, you know, talking to tattoo artists and stuff like that, and doing little tattoos and stuff here and there. And I went into a shop and I talked to them, and then I went on break from that other job, called them on break, and was like, I quit. I'm not coming back. Like, no money, no plans. You know what I mean? I was just like, I'm gonna do this. So I went into the shop. After I called them, I left my house, went to the shop. I was like, hey, this is what I've been doing so far. Can I come in? Can you guys show me what's going on? And they took me on. You know what I mean? I took some drawings. I took a couple little tattoos that I was doing here and there, and they took a chance on me. You know what I mean? So it's pretty awesome. But a lot of people's stories might be a little different, but I really relate to people that are like all or nothing. Like, let's just dive right in head first. You know what I mean? And I think it's worked out pretty well for me so far. How about you guys? Do you guys have any?
There's an old saying that goes, when the Vikings first ended up going to new lands, if they really wanted to conquer that land, if they really wanted to be successful in whatever that endeavor was, they would burn the boats.
Yeah.
Because when you make that kind of a commitment, there's no turning back.
Yeah.
You know, it's all or none. It's success or death. That's it. Those are the options. You know? So, I mean, obviously it's not to that extreme, but
No, but I
it's
like that.
the
I
principle
like that
behind it.
analogy. Yeah,
Burn
I
the
like that
boats.
principle behind that. Yeah.
That's what you did.
But-
When you left that job, you burned the boats. You didn't have a backup.
I think I really needed to hear myself say that today, man. I think I really needed to hear you say that today too. I'm so glad that you said that today, because I've been in this place, you know what I mean, where I forget sometimes that I'm very capable of doing that. You know?
You're capable of anything.
Yeah.
You are.
I mean,
all you have to do is put your mind to it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, didn't you just like break down your personal studio to go back to art core? Like that was
Yeah.
a big step too. That's a huge step to leave your own personal space to join a crew again. And it's not a step backwards either. It's a step
Mhm.
rejoining the community too. That's really fucking cool and ballsy.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, you know what? You're right. Yeah, it's been awesome coming back here.
I wouldn't
It's
discount
been-
some of your accomplishments, Ricardo, just because your head's not exactly sure what to think, you know, but still you're on an incredible course, just like you were already on this course years ago in your little cubicle when life sucked. You know what I mean? It's still a part of this. You're in the middle of it.
It's true, right? That's true. Like we can't get blinded by the fact that like we feel like we're swimming to that. You guys ever like when you go swimming and stuff like that and you go down way deep in the water and you're like, oh shit, and you start like paddling real hard and you're like, I can't get to the top fast enough. I can't get to the top fast enough. And then you just get out and like, keep that deep breath. You know what I mean? Like, oh my God, I made it. It's that struggle sometimes. You know what I mean? But we know we're gonna get back to the top of the surface, right? Yeah.
But I mean, if you were halfway in and you're still struggling, you're like, I'm just not going to make it, and you stop swimming, you're not going to make it.
No, definitely not. So we keep pushing. Yeah, we just keep pushing forward. That's all we can really do, huh?
Perseverance is a hell of a drug.
Got any into that?
Yeah. I know, right? Tell me about it.
Apparently,
How do we do that?
Ricardo's got tons.
Oh man, life's been pretty wild. You know what I mean? There's been a lot of spots that I've had to kind of like, you meet somebody or you realize that you got to pull yourself out of it. You know what I mean? So that's the best thing that we can do. Anybody out there that's listening that needs to hear that today, that's something that's really important to remember, is that you're not alone, and that you just got to keep pushing yourself sometimes, no matter how hard it might be. And that goes along for anything. That goes along for your life. That goes along for your work. You know, like, you know how many paintings I've started, and like there was one painting I did, this dragon, and I sold it over quarantine, which surprised the shit out of me, but I loved it. And I was so sad to let it go, but I hadn't worked for like a month and a half. So I was like, well, gotta go. But I sat on it for like 3 years. I literally at my old studio would just let it sit there, and I didn't know how to finish the glazing on oils. You know what I mean? I was still learning oils and stuff like that. I didn't know about mediums and stuff like that at the time. And it just sat there for 3 years, like staring at me. I was like, what am I going to do with you? What am I going to do with you? But I stumbled upon mediums, you know what I mean? And it was just like that simple. It started kind of starting to finish itself almost, even, you know, like mixing the paints and with the mediums and thinning it down to kind of get the overall effect that you want. So, and I guess it's kind of like that, right? We got to add some things in it that we wouldn't have thought of or didn't even know about.
Personally, I think a lot of it has to do with making a commitment and then sticking to it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you made that commitment that you were going to finish that painting.
Yeah.
Okay. You made that decision. You didn't give yourself a second option. You said, okay, this is what I'm doing. And you did it. No secondary thought, nothing. You made that choice. You made that decision and you saw it through to the end. That
Mhm.
kind of perseverance, that kind of endurance and commitment, that's why you are where you are. Okay. That's not an
Mhm.
easy thing to do, to make a long-term commitment in that aspect and see it through.
Right.
There's a reason why a lot of people, especially when they start working with new mediums, whether it be acrylics or oils or watercolors or whatever, there's a reason why if they pick up a new medium, you'll start to see them going back to their first medium again and again and again. Because
Yep.
that's what they're familiar with. That's where their comfort zone is, right? They're not, this is new and they're not successful at it, you know, because they haven't put that time into it yet. But if you make that commitment and you stick it out and you see it through and you push through those difficulties, you will come out a better individual.
Yep. Exactly. Just gotta adhere to it.
I kind of
Follow through.
wonder if Ricardo realizes how big of an influence he is on other tattooers. Ricardo, do you know that you're a huge, huge positive influence on other
Nope.
people? Like, I
He
don't
doesn't
think
have a
you're
clue.
aware of this. I know. I don't think
I mean, to
he's
me,
talking like he knows.
raise your hand. I
No.
mean, just a simple show of hands, Ricardo.
You guys rule, man. Thank you so much.
I'll put one
That
up
means a
for
lot.
all of the other artists that couldn't be on the Zoom today.
Okay.
I'm just putting up two more or one more. I can't count for myself.
How many arms
Okay,
do you
okay.
have?
8.
Well, we'll talk about that later.
Oh, okay then. Sorry, I'm just gonna stop there.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, Ricardo, you're a huge influence. Well, like your perseverance is one thing, but also like you're so talented and so nice, and it is such a relief to meet somebody who's been grinding for so long that can show that the effort pays off as well as still maintains humility and kindness. Like you're the first person to approach me at Paradise and say, "Hey, what's up? Welcome." Like that, I still remember that. Like I wouldn't have been able to like break out and start saying hi if I wasn't approached. And that's because of you. I was fucking terrified up until that point. I was too afraid to talk to anybody.
I was too.
Holy shit.
Well, one of us had to do it.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that very much, Medusa. Thank you guys for the compliments. That's awesome. It's awesome of you. Yeah. I was nervous as shit too, man. Not gonna lie. Like, but that's what I'm saying though. You know, that's what we gotta do, right? Like you just gotta face it straight on, face it head on. And sometimes you want to hide. Sometimes I still do. Sometimes I want to just kind of like, nope, I'm done. But yeah, thank you very much. That makes it worthwhile for me. I appreciate that so much. I don't know what else to say.
I think we're seeing new shades of red in Ricardo.
Let's move on.
Would you
How's
say that's
everybody
more
doing
of a
today?
crimson or more of a scarlet?
I don't know. I think Solid Ink has a watermelon that kind of matches.
Crazy. How about this one? That close.
Lauren, is there any way we could do like a photo sample and analyze the color of Ricardo's blush right now and
Oh my
turn
God.
that into a specific pigment?
Yeah.
100%.
Oh my
I mean,
God,
we
dude.
could legitimately send it to like a makeup company and make a blush.
That would be pretty funny, wouldn't it?
I figure if we sample his hair, we can turn that into an opaque called Silver Fox.
Yeah. That's definitely some
Yeah.
silver in there, huh?
Silver
Right.
Fox, and then
Silver Fox, right?
the red will be called Red Cardo.
Oh my
There you
God.
go.
That's awesome.
Oh my God, that's
I
fucking
approve.
hilarious.
Yes.
Oh,
You know,
you guys
I
are
don't know
killing
what
me.
it was, but speaking of naming stuff, Ricardo is helped me several months ago name some colors, and he was so good at it.
That was a fun opportunity. That
Yeah.
was fun. That was just like, that was
You
a
want to
blast,
tell
dude.
everybody your names you chose?
I picked Intolerance. I picked Mr. Rogers. What else do we have? We have was it the green one too, right? Money green.
World peas.
Please tell me it's actually called the green one.
That would be awesome. But no, I don't think it. The
Yeah, that was like a
Intolerance,
year,
Mr.
almost a year
Rogers.
ago.
Yeah, that was.
I can't
think
remember
I
what.
have. I have some of the
Waiting
inks
room.
here.
Waiting room.
Waiting room. Yeah, waiting room is one of my favorites too. Such a great like bridge between some of the other colors, you know.
Show us.
Sometimes
But red Cardo would be a good one.
Red Cardo.
Yeah.
Let's see, where's the waiting room at? I don't know. It's in here somewhere. I have nothing but raw pigment. Yeah.
Well, they are the best.
I gotta check out raw. I gotta get my hands on some.
You have not switched over yet, Medusa.
Yeah, you gotta get some of them.
I need to do a lot of stuff. I'm still a tatter tot, y'all.
Intolerance.
That's
There
why
it
we're
is.
trying to get you like in the
Yeah,
know
that's the one.
early.
I
Okay.
know. That's why I'm waking up at 6 a.m. to be here.
Yeah, thank you so much.
So,
That's awesome.
Go pick up every bottle that you run out of, right? Of color. You need to replace that with a bottle of raw pigments.
Yeah,
And you will
I agree.
notice an unbelievable difference.
They're
Yeah,
awesome.
Guy was
Not
talking
that I'm like,
about the
not that I'm
black
like
being
trying to
pretty-
like, oh, they're blacks.
Yeah,
Mwah.
the black washes. Yeah.
I swear by their whitewash. I love it because it's just so soft.
That
Yep.
pitch black.
Yep.
That thing is this is like, whoa, dude. That's dark.
Yeah.
Super easy, super
Yeah.
smooth, super dark first time.
Mhm.
Sounds like my love life.
Medusa, I'll send you some stuff.
Oh, that'd be great. Oh,
It's hilarious.
I'm gonna turn red.
Yeah.
Medusa, what brands are you currently using?
I am phasing out of a lot of Eternals into some solids, mainly because the Eternal supply, I've noticed, I don't, this isn't the case for everybody I know, but I've ordered some stuff that has just arrived in time for it to expire in a few months and me not have enough time to actually use up the bottle. So that was disappointing. And in Oregon, we can't use anything past the expiration date on the bottles.
You can if you use it to paint.
Yeah, to paint. So I have a crap load of tattoo inks at home that I can paint with, but I'm having to
Painting
constantly pick them off
inks.
my yeah, I'm
Artistic
constantly
colors.
yeah, in case the health inspection department comes by, I'm always picking them off of my shelf at work and replacing things. So what I noticed with solid was that they're a little bit smaller batch, and so they're going through their stock a little bit quicker, as what I assume Eternal's kind of sitting on the shelf longer, and so when I get it, I have less time to use it.
Is we had a 2-year pause where some people couldn't tattoo. So there was all of that ink that was made before the pandemic that had like probably a 3-year shelf life, but it just sat there for a year and a half or 2 years, depending. So I think that was probably a one-time problem that people were getting ink that was close to expiration. I think that was, I hope, probably just a one-time issue, because like as a supplier at True Tattoo Supply, once we came back, we had just tons and tons of ink that was like 4 months away from expiring. So it all just had to be turned into paint.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I kind of assumed that some of it was due to the pandemic as well. I had a couple of other friends that had mentioned that it might be due to large batches just being in their warehouses longer versus small batches going through rotation quicker.
Well, if this
But
just happened, you could do the math too and kind of figure out where the pandemic lied and if that actually is the case at the same time.
yeah.
Especially if it's a
Um,
3-year, it really does make sense that that would be the case.
Yeah, I am really interested in trying raw though. I've heard nothing but good things from y'all. So I want to get
It's
on that.
gonna
I
be
also
different. It's gonna be different when you use it.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid of that. It's
Yeah.
gonna
I'm
go in a lot easier than
Yeah,
any
exactly.
Eternals I've ever used. So you
I
don't.
am afraid of everything.
I
Okay, we'll
relate.
get over that.
Get afraid.
Just if this is your fear, just you right over. You have to. It's
I
gonna
want to.
be solid the first time
Eyes
you go
wide
over it.
shut.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, you
I
have to.
want to see. I want to see. I know this is kind of off topic, but I am kind of itching to see guy's tattoo on Ricardo.
Ooh.
Oh, you guys want to check it out?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Just do
let me
it.
see. All right.
Yeah, do it. Do it.
Where are my ones? Where are
We're
my
gonna see
ones?
red Cardo
Oh,
again.
Ricardo.
Where are my ones? Where are my ones?
Take
Don't
it
know if you
easy,
can see.
Jason.
I'm just seeing a lot of open space that we could do awesome tattoos. on.
I know all of
Ricardo, you're
that.
getting in really nice shape.
Yeah,
Thank you.
nice.
I've been
That's-
running and walking a lot and doing a bunch of workouts.
Yeah,
So
you can see the
That's
contrast in
gorgeous.
the
Gorgeous
soft tone.
tattoo work. Nice red Cardo.
yeah, I love it. It's you know what? I don't know if you guys have had a lot of work that you've had to go over like once or twice, but the second time around was way different experience. You know, like just going in and when he had the structure all set out and then tightening some things up like his teeth and stuff like that in the eyes and everything and some other stuff back here with the tree. It was pretty awesome. But pain wise, oh man, not fun.
Oof.
Hang on. Sorry. I'm sorry, I
Yeah.
went blank there. I
He
yeah,
wanted
but
to
yeah.
take away his topless from us. But yeah, no, I want Guy. I've been thinking lately, I kind of want Guy to, I just want to look at his like 90s flash, like the flash that he made in the 90s, and then pick
Yeah.
something out and have him tattoo my neck. Just
Oh,
blast
man,
my
that'd be
neck with
awesome.
some like 90s chrome.
Nice.
That's all
That'd be awesome. I
Do
bet
a
he'd love
chrome
that.
skull in the middle.
And the chrome
Right.
skull in the middle. I want like, and also like, you know, chrome 90s tribal or a Looney Tunes character flying off the side or something.
I'd say do a chrome skull in the middle and then just have all types of like bio around it, like encasing it. You know?
But Guy has to do it.
Yeah.
I have to have Guy do that. Well, yeah. No, but that dude, that arm is looking freaking sick, dude.
I love it. I love it. It's when I first went down there with Jason last year. He had talked about it. We were doing a bunch of work while Jason was getting tattooed and stuff like that. And then, you know, towards the end of the session, which by the way, kudos to you, Jason, and kudos to him both, because you guys both put in a lot of work that trip, man. I don't know how you did it, dude. 2 days in a row like that. Oof, man. On the same
Determination.
leg. Yeah, dude.
That's
You
all
did
it
it.
is.
You nailed it, man. And but you know, we had talked about it, and the original plan was to get something black and gray from him for sure. You know, like I always wanted something black and gray from him. I love his color work. I love it, but I'm a big fan of black and gray tattoos. I love doing black and gray tattoos, and you know, so it was awesome to go through that experience with him. You know, and I think he mentioned it last night, which was like, you know, having to switch over to that process, that mindset of going from color to black and gray. So it was the experience for both of us. I got to ask him about it. He got to talk about like the process of it, going into the contrast again, seeing it healed and then getting back into it. You know what I mean? So that was awesome. And that's actually helped me out so much with just my drawings and the way I'm approaching my tattoos now too. So I've always heard that. I've always had people say that, but I've avoided the industry, and like I've avoided talking to people for so long, but it's true. You go out, you pay somebody to tattoo you, you watch them tattoo, you talk to them about it. You know what I mean? You learn so much in that process. It's invaluable. So when you see people that have larger pieces and things like that, or collection and stuff like that, it makes sense. You know what I mean? It makes a lot of
That's-
sense.
That's insanely true. One
Yeah.
of my, oh, sorry.
Look at
Go
guys
ahead.
like Jake
Yeah.
Meeks. Look at
Mhm.
his collection that he's collected over the years from all of these incredible artists. You can see their direct influence
Mhm.
on the work that he's producing, right? And that's all because he took the time, saved the money, and is traveling back and forth to wherever. I think he's going to Virginia now for his back. You know, and you can see that influence, that heavy influence in those artists that have worked on it, you know, and the quality and the style of work that he's producing. You know, I think it's very important because the people we get tattooed by do have an impact on us, whether we realize it immediately or not. You know,
Yep.
so what I've found personally is that when you go through and you take the time and you make that investment to go and get a piece done by someone like Guy, or like I just did with Chris Dunn, or, you know, any number of other incredible artists, Phibbs was like, had a monumental impact on the style and type of work that I'm doing, as well as my own process. And when you start to really absorb that, it really changes your mindset, even if you don't realize it. And to me,
Okay.
it's a profound experience.
Jason, I'm just gonna find a little window to say hi to Sean. What's up? You want to say hey? And it's the first time I'm meeting you, so if you want to throw your audio on and say what's up to everybody.
Hey, Lauren, nice to meet you.
Awesome.
Hi,
Hey,
Sean.
Ricardo.
Good morning.
Everybody
How
else?
are you?
Hey, Sean.
Good.
Fawn is here.
Good.
She's a first-time viewer, long-time listener. Awesome painter, awesome tattoo artist, awesome person. Hello, everybody.
I just want to contribute to the blush in Ricardo's face. Ricardo, you're a real inspiration, man. I really like this show.
I'm very thankful to have you say that. Thank you so much. It means a lot. Thank you.
Yeah, I never miss an episode. Well, watching them anyways. Kind of early.
Well, I'm
I'm on the
glad-
West Coast.
Yeah,
Hey,
it's
West
pretty early
Coast.
for you guys out there. Yeah, that's you and Medusa both. Yeah, thanks for joining, man. That's awesome for you to jump in today. What a great time to jump in. Today's number 50, dude. I can't believe it.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. I'm always
I
let's keep moving.
was gonna say hey to everybody in the chat. Chris, Nenny Business, James, and Todd. What's up, everybody? Thanks for watching.
Morning, guys. Thank you for
Morning.
joining.
I wanted,
Jake-
Fun.
I was gonna say, Jason, are you gonna pull Ricardo and show us your Chris Dunn healed piece?
Yeah.
Well, it's not finished yet. It was only
Well,
the first session.
Just asking for a friend.
I'm going to have to remove a bit more clothing than Ricardo, but yeah.
I'm okay with everything.
What are we waiting for then?
Is this set up for 18 and over only? Because I'm not trying to
12
like
and
get this
over.
video
We're good.
poll.
12 and over.
Yeah, I'll show off a little bit.
Ooh, all right, here we go.
Well, as much as I can to still be
Can
appropriate.
someone get a little beat going?
Boots and cats and boots and cats and boots and cats.
I live in Portland, man. There's a strip club on every block here.
Oh, man,
like-
that's crazy.
Yeah, you guys just come on over and visit anytime.
Come and knock on my door.
Yeah, that looks really dope.
So we started this Tengu
hmm
Man, dude.
and it goes down quite a bit further.
Oh, spicy ribs. That is
Yeah.
sick.
This was like the most spicy portion of everything, like right up
Yeah.
in this area.
Hmm.
To the point that I was like, dude, can we finish this the next time? Because that was brutal.
Yep, your
Um,
nervous system got to protect those vital organs.
Yeah.
Well, it's not so much that like my right side was very, very different than my left. My left was way more painful. And I don't know why. It was just weird.
That's that lucky
Yeah.
path.
Like I use the same methodology every time I get tattooed and the same process for preparing for the tattoo. You know, minus the 3-hour drive the day before when I went down from Ricardo's place to see Guy. But it was essentially the same basic thing. You wake up in the morning, you have a good breakfast, you make sure you take your vitamins, you know, take a few ibuprofen or Tylenol or whatever you have on hand that's over the counter. Throw in some headphones if you need to zone out, and you get tattooed. You find your happy place and you go. And this was, I think it was partly because I was at a show and I was a little like intimidated by a lot of people that were there. You know, when you're in a room with 90% of the people that you really look up to, it's kind of hard not to fanboy out and be like, oh boy, this was not a good idea. I probably should have picked a different spot. Why am I doing this to myself? But it was a commitment that I made and I needed to see it through. And I booked out all day with them, and, you know, we tattooed. And it was a great experience. It was a great time. I got to, you know, take a look and see what he was using the whole time and ask him questions, you know, in between breaks. But it was extremely enlightening. Just to look at his process versus someone like Guy's, and to go through and kind of start looking at, okay, what are they using? How are they using it? You know, everything down to like hand pressure, you know, how much pressure are they putting down? You know, how far out are they setting their needle? All of these things will have a direct impact on me, whether I realize it or not, you know, down to, okay, is he going through and is he doing like a full grise, like, you know, black and gray underpainting? Or is he going through and just going straight into color with, you know, minimal black shading? You know, what's his process? Some artists will start at black and they'll work from black to a color, or black to a transition color to another color. And, you know, so to watch that process and as it developed was just mind blowing. Looking at what he was using, how he was using it, because different artists tattoo with different techniques and different ways, as we've all been able to see, you know, from starting out with, you know, full black and gray mock-ups, going in, you know, mag first, much like Guy, and start blocking things in and then refining as you go, or you starting out with your outlines and then moving right into your heavy black shading, and then maybe a little bit of light gray shading in the areas that are going to be a little bit more muted down. You know, but what is that process like? And that's really only something that you can observe if you go and you get tattooed, you know. And I'm a huge advocate of, and anyone out there that, you know, is struggling with where they are at a point in time in their career, not necessarily their life, but in their career, where they're really, really struggling with, where am I going? What am I doing? How can I improve? How can I get better? My first question every single time is, well, when was the last time you went and got tattooed by someone that you admire?
That's a good question.
I need
That's
to
a good
start
observation.
state for that.
You know, it's not, I mean, there's a lot of people out there that get work done by homies, and that's awesome. You know, I get worked on by homies all the time. It's great, you know, but I know their process. I know how they do what they do. I've watched them work several times. I know exactly how they're going to go through and exactly how they're going to run their machines. I know exactly how much needle depth they have, how much they're stretching the skin. I know that, right? And they're my homies, and I can call one of my buddies up, you know, at 11 o'clock at night, you know, and while he might be at home asleep, and he's got two little boys that are absolutely adorable. But I could call him up at 11 o'clock at night and be like, yo, dude, really need to get tattooed. What are you up to? And he'd be like, all right, let me get dressed. I'll go open the shop. And he would come in on his days off. It doesn't, he's like, whatever, if that's what you need, man, I'll throw something on you real quick. You know, but once again, when I'm getting tattooed by him, that's more just like hanging out with a good friend. You know, it's not, you know, starting to push me in a direction that I need to go in. I'm going to get that by flying out or traveling out or driving out to get tattooed by people that I really truly look up to, people whose work I want to do more of or understand better. You know, so I'll fly out to the west coast of Canada. I'll fly out to England if I have to. I'll fly out to wherever. You know, I'm actually, if all goes well over the next few months, I'll be saving up a little bit of money, and I may actually end up flying out to Paris to get a little piece done by this guy Augustine Nizumi, who is absolutely incredible. But he's actually traveling around Europe with my friend Clement, who I'm working in Puerto Rico with.
Awesome.
He usually does huge Japanese style illustrative pieces. I believe he's from Taiwan. But you know, regardless, amazing style, amazing illustrative techniques. And I want to go and look at his process, because that's going to teach me more along the lines of what is he doing? How is he achieving certain effects? How is that something I can incorporate into what I do? Because this guy's on the other side of the world. I don't have the opportunity to call him up at 11 o'clock randomly on night and be like, yo, I need to get tattooed. I don't have that. So I have to make the effort to achieve that.
I think the after hours homie tattoos still have a very special place in the, you know, in the yearbook signatures that we all tend to be with our, you know, homie tattoos. But there definitely is a huge educational aspect by like going out of the way to get tattooed by someone you are really looking up to. I have a friend who I wanted to circle back around to, that seeking out tattoos from people that you want to get tattooed by so that you can learn by watching and observing the process. I got a friend who got loans from the bank for a car, used them all on getting tattooed. Just
Much better in
just
Radical.
so yeah,
better
no,
in
just spend every fucking penny of the
That's
bank
funny.
loans to get tattooed because he wanted to be a better tattooist. And he's on like year 10 or 11 now of tattooing, but because he spent so much time on these with these loans under under the machine on in like getting tattooed by people that he super admired, he learned so quickly. By year 4, he was already like booked out for a year and having people like fly in to get tattooed by him. And he learned so much from that. So, I mean, that's it. You get a loan from a bank and just get tattooed.
You know
Yeah,
what? That's
I
awesome
try to stay
hear.
away from debt, but
Yeah, for sure. That's one of the rules, right? The whole Dave Ramsey rule and all that stuff like that. But no, but seriously though, Medusa, like for real, you're right. You know, I used to skateboard and I almost didn't tattoo because of skateboarding. I was like, man, which one do I want to do? I was like, I knew I couldn't hurt myself, you know what I mean, if I invested more time into tattooing, but like I chose tattooing. But Rodney Mullen has a thing that he talks about with that too. You know what I mean? It's like, if you see it, if you can see that it has been done, it inspires you to take your own approach to it, right? Like, and he talked about that with like skateboarding. Like you see some of these people doing these tricks and you're like, wait, what? You can do that? Like things you never thought of, you know? And then you take it on yourself and you just kind of amplify it. So that's awesome to hear that that's literally the same thing, you know, with your friend. And that investment too, man. Ooh, scary stuff.
getting good tattoos is an investment. It's a financial investment. It's a time investment. You know, and Lauren and I have had talks about this before. It's a commitment. You know,
After
when you get big pieces done, it is a huge commitment, not just financially, but time. And time's something we can't ever get back.
No.
but I mean, like
No.
It's not really there.
Exactly.
Just saying.
it's wibbly wobbly. But
It's a gray
yeah.
area of metaphysics.
Yeah, no, I think a lot of people take advantage, or not take advantage, take for granted after you've been tattooing for a long time or you've been collecting for a while, take for granted the fact that getting tattooed and getting tattooed by an artist that you admire is a luxury and a privilege and something you have to save up for and plan for. And it's not something that you're entitled to, which is another thing that I'm trying to humble myself with, is stop being so entitled to things.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a big thing. But when you make that decision in your mind and you say to yourself, okay, I need to go and get tattooed by this person. I need to learn from them. I need to know what they know in order to make myself a better artist. When you make that kind of a commitment and decision, stick to it. It may take you 10 years to save up, and that's okay. Because during that period of time, if you stay disciplined enough to stick to that commitment, it's going to pay off in the long run.
You know, it's funny that we're on this topic. I'm kind of like just noodling away at this painting that I've been working on. But I think it's been invaluable to me, both as like a person and a tattoo artist, that I was incredibly patient while I was like planning out who I wanted to work on me and where and when and all of those things. And the first large project that I started was with Adam France, and there are all the things that we can learn, like what Jason was saying. You can learn their technique, you can learn how they do things, you can learn how they use color. But there's something really magic that I learned because it was a 4-year process to do my leg sleeve. Wow. And Adam and I, like, depending on our schedules, we saw each other every month. And then let me throw in there that at the same time Adam was doing my leg sleeve, Guy was doing Adam's leg sleeve. So Adam was like strategically scheduling my appointments immediately after his appointments with Guy. So it was like anything he learned from Guy, he immediately taught it to me. So it was like this magic passing of knowledge between us. But one of the things that, like, even on our show that I don't usually talk about because this isn't really something that concerns collectors, is I started to understand how tattoos heal and how the ink settles, because he was doing such large areas and such huge swaths of color, knowing that there was going to be a whole nother layer of color to come in and like balance and settle. And I started calling it the magic of the heel. But there are all of those just like magic things that I could never have understood if I didn't go through that process of like getting that large tattoo over that 4-year period of time and actually watch how colors settle and change. And not necessarily, you know, you don't want your colors to change, but like just the way that like the ink disperses and the way those needle marks, you know, at first they look like choppy needle marks, but give it 6 months and they look like a very interesting texture that adds to the bio element that's there. So like if you're a young tattooer, I think it's incredibly important to be patient with your collection and don't cover yourself right away. Wait until you have the opportunity to get worked on by the people you look up to. I think it's incredibly important. I'm mostly self-taught as a tattooer, but once I started collecting those big pieces, it was like once I started getting worked on and seeing artists that worked like painters, it immediately gave me permission to approach my own tattoos like a painter. And once I started doing that, it was just like freedom, and everything just like started feeling so much more comfortable and less forced. But it took that getting tattooed to learn those lessons.
That's a really good point. I have a question about what you're mentioning about getting tattooed back to back right after your artist was tattooed by Guy. I believe at Paradise, you had mentioned that Guy, when you spoke to Guy about getting a tattoo from him or something along those lines, he had said, "I'm familiar with your collection."
Oh man, I was so flattered.
Is that how he was familiar?
Well,
because of that that little tango
So-
of scheduling?
so potential. Well, and I also work at Red Tree, so I know Guy at least was familiar with my name. Like he and Derb are incredibly close, and I've just kind of been part of the circle for a little bit. But I think it's like the culmination of I started one big piece and then another big piece and another big piece. Like all I got to do is be like Russ Abbott, Ty McEwen, Adam France, and people are like, "Oh, you're a collector." Yeah, a little bit. But there's just not there's not a lot of female collectors right now that are collecting the way that I am, and then like the bio psychedelic kind of fashion. So it was flattering that Guy was already familiar with my work and stuff, but like in hindsight, it's not surprising. It was just like, oh, he knows my name. He knows who I am. It's kind of that moment.
Now I see
Yeah.
Fawn turning a shade of red that we can call Fonderful.
That's a good one.
It's wonderful. Welcome to the club, Fawn. It's called On the Spot.
It happens to me a lot. I just take it in stride.
Yeah, that's kind of what I try to do with it too.
I
That's
really,
awesome. Go ahead.
I just really admire that advice that Fawn had about like young tattooers having patience and stuff. Like I'm running out of real estate, and I've spoken to Jason about this before because I want to get tattooed by Steve Moore, and he only does large pieces. So like I've got to stop. And as soon as I finish this piece right here, I'm saving the rest of my body to start like really investing in top tier tattooers that I want to learn from. My problem is that I've already, before I started tattooing, I already collected a decent amount of, patchwork by homies. So now I don't have a whole lot of real estate left, but there's always the rest of my face too.
Mhm.
But yeah,
Well,
that's
and-
really good advice about,
Yeah.
young tattooers having patience.
I mean, I am, I think 13 or 14 years into my career, and my arms still aren't tattooed. I have ideas. Like there's definitely like a list of about 3 artists I would have do my left sleeve. And one in particular is like one of my most favorite artists in the world. But my right arm, I've got this idea for like an epic collab with like several bio, like visionary artists. So, those are things where like the idea is there. So I kind of like feel like the real estate is already spoken for. So there's no temptation to touch them or do anything because there's like these ideas that I know are going to happen because like I've already been fortunate enough to meet so many artists that I do look up to. And, when you've got the open real estate, it is much easier to be taken seriously by an artist that you look up to who more than likely has a very long wait list or a very busy schedule. But I think being mindful with your real estate is really important. Like outside of like the realm, like usually you hear the discussion of like tattoo placement, but it's for like professionalism reasons. But I mean, for the you only have so much flesh to tattoo, and you can only do so much with it. So what are you going to do with it? What are you going to do? Like, do you want it to be show-stopping quality work? Do you want it to be work that you can learn from? Or do you want it to be, and there's nothing wrong with trinket tattoos, do you want it to just be little talismans and trinkets? And that's totally fine, but you might not learn as much from those trinket experiences as you are from like just jumping in the deep end and collecting a big meaningful piece and like connecting with that artist. Because the other thing is when you start a large piece with an artist, when you're with that person, you're touching and your hands are connected with one another and their hands are on your body. And like, there's these other exchanges of like spiritual energy that happen. And I feel like that just doesn't happen with the little pieces as much. But I think that's something that every tattooer especially needs to experience, because it's special and it's sacred what we do. And I think we need to experience ourselves so that we can then mindfully pass it on to the people that we're working on.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I live next to a skincare place that offers tattoo removal, and I'm actually going to be getting some work removed that I don't hate. I love it, you know, but I want to make room for more involved and significant pieces. So sometimes you gotta trial and error.
And that's
Yeah.
a learning process too. From going through like the process of removal, you're going to understand how much is possible just with like a few sessions of lightening a tattoo versus completely removing it.
Yeah,
So
I've
there's
got
a lot of things to be learned at the other end of the process.
Yeah, I've got a friend who's getting a bodysuit by Steve Moore, and she is playing the dancing tango game of getting tattooed and then going and get other things removed that she previously has, and waiting for all of that to heal off and everything so that she can go back to Steve and have that area covered. And it's taken her years, but yeah, sometimes you gotta.
I mean, and that's a reality too, is sometimes even under the best case circumstances, these are multi-year commitments that we're making. My leg had no cover up, nothing, and it still took 4.5 years, somewhere in that window. So even under the best circumstances, these are still big commitments of our time, energy, and schedules, and
You know
the
what? It's
things that-
funny. Kind of unrelated, but Jason and I, it's kind of funny because you'll run out of real estate soon, right, Jason? So
Until I start getting some stuff lasered, yeah.
yeah, so we're gonna go together, and he's gonna help me navigate through artists that he would like to learn through or whatever. That's our plan, right, Jason? And I will get tattooed
That's the goal.
with him there with me. So it's kind of cool
Nice.
too. There are other ways about doing stuff if you're completely full as well.
yeah, I've got a few homies that like I almost consider their collections extensions of my own. So there's that, like, I see you. Let me tag along and let me learn.
Right?
You have to have one of those
Yep.
ride or dies. I got you, Jason.
Hey guys, thank you so much. I have to get going. My appointment's here. Back to work, back to reality. Thank you guys all so much for making these last little few episodes spectacular. Today's number 50. Thank you so much again, everybody, for jumping in, and thank you, Fawn, for joining. Thank you, Sean, for joining. Medusa, Jason, Lauren, thank you so much for all your help. Couldn't do it without you, man. So thank you.
Congratulations on the 50th, man. It's an awesome milestone. Don't forget to celebrate.
Okay, I won't.
Hell yeah, my dude.
Yeah,
Yeah.
buddy.
Party.
Yeah, for sure. Peace, guys.
All right,
Cheers.
guys.